talk about how we became aquatic apes and the story of Book of Un, the Book of Dao, and the Book of Do. And the first book is the Book of Un, Understanding Our Origin, which basically talks about these two monk apes. And the monk apes are a common ancestor of the monkey and the ape. And they may have been proconsuls, which are actually technically apes. Doesn't matter, but let's just call them these monk apes. They're about we're talking about 20 million years ago, when the Horn of Africa was connected to Socotra and the other islands out there that now all in the water, and those islands would become known as the Orobora Islands. And back then, they're very successful. We adapted after the dinosaurs passed away like 60 million years ago, and the mouse type rodent came along, and they evolved up into these monk apes. And they evolved into these prehistoric apes that were about a meter and a quarter, weighed about 20-30 kilos. And one of the groups was the proconsuls. And these groups settled on the Socotra Peninsula. It's called the Socotra Peninsula. That then evolved into the Horn of Africa. As a result of geological movements actually were going on at that time that created the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, the Gulf of Aden. And also at the same time was pushing Africa kind of to the left and up and caused Gibraltar to close, which slowed the flow down, and then basically started emptying out the Mediterranean over time, millions of years. The Mediterranean would empty out, and as a result, the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden and the waters around Socotra Peninsula would go down by 1,000 meters. By then, the events would have, the tectonic events broke off the Horn and basically isolated Socotra and the Isles, where our monk apes, so the proconsuls, may have been another one, some Homidea subfamily, right? Or superfamily, not sub, superfamily, evolved. And in the story of the Book of Un, it's a story of two monk apes. One's called Ulu. He was the pride of the matriarch, or the mother of the mob, known as the dragon, the blood dragon, the dragon blood tree mob, because there were the ancestors of the dragon trees, blood dragon trees were there. They're famous on Socotra Island. There's these amazing palms, these evergreens that shoot up and provide a perfect habitat. And these were the majestic version. They were bigger, and the reason they're bigger and stuff is because they had the monk apes kind of evolved on them and loved them, and the fruit, and they would fruit these really delicious yellow fruits. And Um, little, really tasty. And they would pick them, and the biggest and the oldest tree would be reserved for the royal family. The blood, the matriarch, and her brood. And it wasn't, the brood was very successful, got bigger, and her younger sister basically got pregnant, which was not allowed, and they broke off, creating the warring party mob. And the warring party mob and them had been fighting, and we're dating back around 8 million years ago. Okay, that's for time frame, millions of years, millions of años, and it's kind of a Romeo and Juliet story, because the youngest daughter of the new break-off group, right? Her name was Kiki. The moment she saw Ulu, this very strong warrior, and the mate of her aunt, right, who leads the dragon blood mob, right? Because they lived on the dragon blood majestica, the ancestors of the current ones, grew like twice the size, and they were huge. And ultimately, their seeds would be carried back when they were all peninsula, would be carried over to Socotra, and other islands, where they would become what we know today is the cinnabar something trees. But back then, they would always be fighting, and she'd always be trying to push up and get in there and grab some berries and get out. It was a constant, war between the two mobs. And the island, over time too, you have to understand, was getting smaller as waters were slowly rising. And this is before, right? I'm talking about, let's say 15 to 8 million years ago, right? The islands were broke up. They were no longer together. They were together 20 million years, but now they're not. And the Indian Sea, the tectonics was breaking up the islands and stuff. It was very, it was probably a lot of earthquakes back then. And if you want to have an idea of what the place looked like, go look at Socotra. But then imagine more rain and more green and these bigger trees and all the original species there. And every time there would be a fight, and sometimes the Dragon Bloods mob would also raid the sisters, and just to show their dominance, her aunt, the queen's sisters. And there was Gigi would always look out for him, and she would wait until no one was looking, and she would kind of check no one's looking. She would and she would get his attention. He would kind of chase after him hardly. She was just a little thing. She wasn't a threat to him, right? But it's just a little cheeky little girl, like a little teenage girl going after the man. Happens all the time still today. And turn this down, and she would raise her hips, right? Stretch out her legs, raise her hips, showing her backside, and then give him that look. And this happened. This was seconds, milliseconds, seconds. Boom, dumb, looked, and then he would look and know what it meant. It meant, I want you. Think like this. See what you like? It's kind of like the women today wearing the low cut, shirt on TikTok and wearing the, bright red lipstick, saying, you like this? You want some of this? Just like selling that sex. Back then, it was raising the hips and pointing in the direction of the male that you liked. And this went on until, one time it was this ominous. It was really strange, and all the monk apes were really kind of caught up with the event, and there was, the moon and the sun were both visible at the same time, really close to each other. There's the moon and the sun were right there in the sky, and not only that, this fiery star, a comet, passed between the two. And this happened like in the evening, right? The suns were setting, you could see them. And imagine this comet passing through. And it was at that moment when they had got together, right? In a secluded place, this one little place between their territories that no one went, down by a river, that they had met, and they had copulated the action. The action didn't last long. It was really quick. Boom, it was done. She could, she rubbed up against him, and then on the way back, she tried to rub into shrubs, and so did he, to get the smell off him. And because it was really illegal, for them to do that. That's like the highest crime, mating in another. Oh man, I gotta return this. My in-law. Aisha. Look at here. Okasan? A cat's been in here. Neko. Hey. Yeah. Mite hashi. これ多分fox. Fox. Itachi ね。Itachi. Weasel. 英語で weasel. Weasel. Hitachi. 見てる？本当？何サイズ？子供ね。子供。すごい。Hitachi. これ多分お腹すいたね。お腹すいたの？氷欲しい。氷。すごい。はい、バイバイ。バイバイ。よし。Hitachi weasel. Folks, their weasels are all over the place. Hitachi, there's the footprints over there. It's probably living in here. And when they both got back, though, they couldn't hide it. The queen, the matriarch, immediately could smell on Ulu, and immediately attacked him. Didn't even, there's no like, hey, what's going on? She smelt it. He attacked, and Ulu's brother, who was his younger brother, who did seem to him not long ago was just a pup, joined in on the attack and got a nasty swipe on him with his claw, with his hands, cutting deep across his face. And Ulu just turned and just got the heck out of there as quick as he could. And he's fast and he knows the way, and other parts of the mob joined in the chase. And, he first started to dart towards the river, and then, other sentries were coming in on him. So he switched directions, and there was only one place he could go. And that was into the warm parting territory, and to Kiji. So, pretty much at the same time, Kiji had returned to her mob, and again, her mother just smelt him on hers, and immediately basically put her in a death grip with her collar. She laid back, rolled on her back in a submissive position, right? As she growled and like she's gonna snap her neck, but she just couldn't do it. It was the same story, that she had done with her sister, and she saw so much of herself in her daughter, and she let go, and she put a furious bark and growled that meant one thing: you got to go, or you're gonna die, right? And she turned and ran, and she ran, and all as the others watched her go, as her mother chased after her and stopped on the hill and watched her daughter, her youngest daughter, go off towards the dragon blood. I mean, to her surprise, there was Ulu. Ulu was right there, coming right to her, until she saw the mob chasing after him, right? And she knew instinctively that, what happened to her had happened to him. And there was only one thing she could do, was to get his attention, which she did with a bark and a yip, 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 whoo. And as she ran, she would do the cry that Ouroboros, which is the warning call that there is forces coming in. The warning, right? It's warning. She yelped the warning by a sentry, getting the sentry's attention as Ulu catches up to her, and she leads him. Since she knows the Terry, she leads him off as the two mobs meet and start to fight, allowing them to escape. For the next 3 months or so, or 6 months, I don't know how long the incubation is for the pups. If it's the same as our 9 months, I have to research that. But it was constant trying to dip in, trying to get her dragon fruit, being chased, and it's been touch and go last 3 months, barely making it out, getting away, and as she was getting bigger, she was getting slower, it's become riskier. And it seemed like both now mobs were after them. And for some reason, on this particular day, she's, Kiji was, pretty close. I mean, she's like right there to give birth. He's got to find a place. Where can he go? And the mobs are both right on their tail, and they're like booking it, right? They're booking it. It seems like they run from one mob, they run into the other mob. They book back the other way, they run into that mob, right? And it's constantly like they're both just after them, trying to kill them. And they come across something they hadn't found before. And when they're running away in new territory that hadn't gone, it was very barren. They reach over, it's towards the beach, and they see this white stuff all over. And they stop for a moment. The mob pretty much on their backs right there. And Ulu sniffs it, doesn't like it, gets on it, and it's not sand. I've never seen it. And the wind blows, and some of it blows in their eyes, and their eyes sting, and the sores on their bodies because they haven't been able to keep themselves. They've been living kind of on the rough. It hurts. And there they are, the mob, crest over the hill, staring at them. And Ulu looks at Kiji, knowing that she's not going to last much longer. He's not going to get away from this. So he runs in. She's like doesn't want to go. He yelps at her. Yep, come, follow. Barks his little order, and she follows in this thing. And this stuff is like burning between their paws, and it's salt. It's a salt flap, right where it ends on a beach, and they run in quite a bit. It's a pretty big, flat, and the other mobs gets to it, stops, and they just won't go in. They sniff it, they don't like it, and they stare on. They see the two fugitives disappear over the hill, and they quit the chase. I block the wind here. Go ahead and block this wind so it's not so loud. They make it to the water, right? He finds some place to lay under in the shade. She's exhausted. She's breathing. She's starting to show a little blood, indication that the triplets are coming. Triplets, which is unusual. Usually they have either one or two, but having triplets was and think of each of them as the sun, the moon, and the star, right, representing the three, the event that happened. Sun, moon, and star, the names of the three apes that ultimately responsible for evolving into the humans. Three will play an important role in the story of the book. The three daughters that arrive, right? The three clans of the Aurora that ultimately spread out and inhabit the earth. But they needed food, right? Ulu starving, and he needed to feed Kiji. So he looks out and he sees something move, and he looks closer, and it's this large prehistoric crab, really large, about half his size, bigger, and it's got these I think 3 legs on each side, these 2 massive claws in the front, one bigger than the other, right? And it comes up and it squats on the roof, and you can see clusters of eggs as the water moves back and forth in the water, right? And it's guarding, it's his rock, and he's guarding his eggs on that rock, and he's sitting up there. It's just too much of a, he's like, it's too much for Laura. He's like, this is like a big scorpion, right? I can take this. I mean, bigger than any scorpion I've ever seen. I mean, scorpions he fights are usually about the size of his foot or hand, and they're nice, and this thing is huge. But he's like, you know what? I gotta do it. There's no other food around. That's it. So he makes his way over it. The crab sees it, kind of dumps on the back of the rock. A big large rock just sitting there, right in the water. And so Lulu kind of creeps up, stalks up, and he gets up and kind of stops moving and waits for the scorpion. Wait for it to move again, and sure enough, it moves. It comes up, and he reaches out because he didn't like the water. The rock was right close to land. He reaches up, he grabs the leg, one of the legs of not the claw, but the leg, as he moved towards it, the crab starts to move away, right? And he gets hold of the crab, and as soon as he touches the crab like changes his whole fucking persona. It goes from kind of trying to get away to being aggressive, and it whips around, and it's like it whips around, and it does this big snapping pincer at him, which if it wasn't for his speed, would have probably taken off his arm, and just clips him on the shoulder, digging down, right? Ulu, now goes in the defensive, whips around, to try to grab something to pull himself away, because the crab's on him now. He's gonna be crab food. He's like, I'm gonna this is kill me here. And he reaches this black rock. He thought it was just part of a thing sticking out of it. And he reaches to grab it, and he pulls it out. And he pulls it out, and he's pulling it out. Another claw's coming for a killing blow on him. And he uses this thing and kind of parries this wax claw away, right? And then on his other hand, which is still holding on to the leg, he whips around onto the back of the crab. And in the same motion, he's holding this rock, which just happened to be pointed, just luck of the draw, 1 in a million. And he just whacks the crab. And it was kind of like, it wasn't planned, it was just like one movement, he's coming, and he hits the claw, he swings on the back of this big crab, the crab's thrashing around, and he whacks, and the stone goes right through the shell of the crab, okay? And he whacks it again, and again, and again, until the crab stops moving. And he's like, in a state of shock, and his adrenaline is running, and he's bewildered, and then he's like, this is just I killed it. Oh my god, I can't believe that I killed it. And he doesn't want to show that he sees over there just cowering, under like a look of shock, kind of shaking, thinking that he's dead. Because he stops moving. He's like, she don't know if he's dead or he's dead, And he's still holding on to the leg that was holding up before they whipped him around. He drags it to her. Still holding the rock. This black piece of rock, obsidian or something, just happened to be naturally sharpened. Happened to be like the perfect size that fit into his hand, with kind of this pointed side on it. And he goes up, and where he'd been whacking, he whacks it on, and it's the most disgusting smell, texture. He starts eating it, because he's like, I'm not going to show her, this is food. And he's like, and he's turning and dry heaving a little bit, but not letting her see, and eat some more. And, and she's like, kind of leans over, smells a little bit shy. No, I'm not having any of that. No. She backs off, and as he kind of eats, and the claw's right there, so he just whacks the claw, and reaches in, grabs some meat from the crab, and just rips it out of the arm of the crab and thrusts it out. She looks, and takes it, and she eats. And it gotta be the most disgusting thing she's ever in her mouth, right? So disgusting. The texture, the taste, the salt, and he kind of makes a sound. Eat it. And she does. That was hard. She forces down this piece of stuff. And she feels better. Immediately it goes in her belly. It starts to kill the hunger pains. And she eats some more. And they feast themselves on this ancient crab that ultimately would become, a new tribe that would evolve into ancestors. UnDaoDu. Yeah, he looked at the stone, still holding it, and finally dropped it. But that stone would be passed down to his son, his oldest, and it would be passed down to sons' children's and their children's until they actually developed the means to craft. That stone would be an artifact to them, and they would ultimately look for other stones similar, which they would find and use as a first. And just as you see monkeys using stones to crack open mud, these ancestors of ours, of these ancient apes, now extinct, would also evolve to using stones to hunt the giant crab, right? Which they would cause the extinction of, as a foreshadowing to what we're going to do as the tribes grew. And because they lived on the salt flat, the the boys would grow up. They would go off and bring in other girls. And because they were so weak, the hierarchy changed, right? So in the other two tribes, it was the female that ruled. But in the new group, it was the boys that had the power. In order to build strong, they would want attract other females to the mob, and the new mob name, the Ouroboros. So the Ouroboros mob of these extinct now primates would go on to take over the island and displace the other families. But that wouldn't happen for millions of years. But they would evolve different, right? Because they had the consumption of seafood, and and because they lived in this kind of salty, flat area that the others wouldn't come, they were left alone. And they evolved where they would just put their pups, they would make their dens, their areas, instead of in trees, because there wasn't any trees, she would have to raise them on the ground. There was no dragon trees around here. So they had to adapt to the difference, the radical difference of their new habitat, forced out by their families, and evolve as kind of a new subspecies of the monk apes. And over time, these subspecies, right, would evolve into us, and that would be millions of years later. We're going to talk about like some of the things and how they evolved. Oh, this is what I'm looking for. Oh, it is this. Okay, it is. Taking off the winter clothes. hope you enjoyed this talk. If you like it, you know, give me a like, share it. There is, you know, the stories of that I'm. There's a playlist I have called Easter Island Ape, where I'm going to put these recordings as I develop the book. I am working with. Oh, I want this on. I want to take this out. My jacket. With Machina, Machina, Machina Deus 3 to develop the story by research into the whole hominids and their pre-ancestors and the Hominoidea subfamily, which these would exist in, and then providing these stories as part of a story to say how we would have come about. Gosh. I don't know. Hopefully the wind wasn't so bad on that. I have to see. Leave my hat there. I'm gonna leave this one on. This is gonna be my indoor hat. So glad. Got my snow gear. On there. Thanks for watching.